closely. This isn't just a fish. This is a survivor of a multi-billion-dollar marketing lie. In the next 20 minutes, everything you thought you knew about Betta fish will be shattered. We aren't just talking about choosing a glass box. We are talking about the thin line between a thriving life and a slow, agonizing decay. Before we expose the dark side of the pet industry, this channel is fighting to reach 4,000 watch hours to sustain our rescue missions. Please hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. Comment Empire right now if you believe every living creature deserves a home, not a cage. Your engagement is the fuel that keeps this content alive. If you walk into a big box pet retailer in the US today, you'll see them. Rows of Betta bowls, micro-tubes, and Zen water gardens, no larger than a coffee mug. They are marketed as low maintenance or perfect for beginners. This is the first lie. The industry uses a biological loophole, the labyrinth organ. Because bettas can breathe atmospheric air, they can stay alive in oxygen-depleted water. But staying alive is not thriving. Imagine being locked in a bathroom for your entire life. You can breathe, yes, but the ammonia from your own waste begins to burn your lungs. Your muscles atrophy because you can't walk. Your immune system collapses. This is exactly what happens in a 1-gallon bowl. There is no biological filtration. Within 24 hours of feeding, the ammonia levels in a small bowl spike to levels that would be lethal to any other fish. For a betta, it's a slow burn. Their vibrant fins start to tatter, not from fighting, but from the water literally eating them alive. This is fin rot, and it is a symptom of a prison cell, not a species trait. If your tank is smaller than your toaster, you aren't a hobbyist. You are an unwitting participant in a cycle of cruelty. But today, we change that. Let's talk about the golden rule of the US Betta community, the 5-gallon minimum. Why 5 gallons? Is it just a random number? No, it is based on the physics of water chemistry. In a 1-gallon bowl, if a single leaf of a plant rots, or if you drop one extra pellet of food, the chemical composition of the water shifts by 100%. It is a volatile environment. In a 5-gallon tank, you have a buffer. The larger volume of water dilutes toxins, giving you a margin of error. But it's also about thermal stability. Being tropical fish from Southeast Asia, bettas require a constant temperature of 78 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Have you ever tried to put a heater in a small bowl? You either cook the fish or create dangerous hotspots. In a 5-gallon tank, the water retains heat evenly. Without this warmth, the betta's metabolism slows down, a state called torpor. They stop eating, their colors fade, and their heart rate drops. They aren't peaceful in your bowl, they are freezing to death in slow motion. But even a 50-gallon tank can be a death trap if you don't understand the invisible lifeline. Most beginners kill their fish in the first 48 hours because they ignore a microscopic army. We are going deep into the nitrogen cycle next. You've bought the 5-gallon tank. You've added the heater. You think you're ready. You're not. There is a hidden army you must recruit before a single fin touches that water. Beneficial bacteria. In the wild, nature handles waste. In an aquarium, you are God. When your betta eats, it produces ammonia through its gills and waste. Ammonia is a silent, invisible poison. In a small, uncycled tank, ammonia levels rise until they literally burn the fish's skin and cause their organs to fail. This is why 90% of beginner fish die in the first week. To prevent this, you must master the nitrogen cycle. It is a biological relay race. First, bacteria called Nitrosomonas convert ammonia into nitrites. Nitrites are still deadly. Then, a second group, Nitrobacter, converts nitrites into nitrates, which are relatively harmless. This process doesn't happen overnight. It takes weeks of patience. If you put your fish in on day 1, you are playing Russian roulette with its life. A true empire is built on a foundation of biology, not just glass and water. Let's address something most people ignore: fish psychology. Bettas are highly intelligent predators. They can recognize your face, follow your finger, and even be trained to jump through hoops. But what happens when you put an intelligent mind in a barren, empty box? Depression. Signs of a depressed betta include glass surfing, swimming frantically against the walls, or lethargy and fin nipping, where they literally mutilate themselves out of boredom. To build an empire, you need enrichment. This means real plants like Anubias or Java fern for them to rest on. It means hiding spots where they can feel secure from perceived predators. It means a low-flow filter so they aren't constantly fighting a current that feels like a hurricane. In the US, the trend is moving toward naturalistic aquascaping. If your tank looks like a piece of nature, your fish will act like a piece of nature. If you've made it this far, you are no longer a beginner. You are a guardian. Here is your 3-step blueprint to building a Betta Empire. The vessel, minimum 5 gallons, horizontal orientation, glass, not plastic. The life support, a preset heater kept at 78 degrees Fahrenheit and a sponge filter. Sponge filters are the holy grail for bettas. They provide massive surface area for bacteria without creating a turbulent current. The ecosystem. Use live plants and natural substrate. Avoid plastic plants with sharp edges that can tear delicate fins like tissue paper. We've spent 8 minutes uncovering the truth because these victims of the ocean deserve a voice. If you learned even one thing today, subscribe to Ocean's Victim. We are fighting to reach our monetization goals so we can continue to produce these deep dive exposés. Comment "Ready" if you are committed to giving your fish a 5-gallon home today. Let's change the hobby, one tank at a time.